The skill level required to be successful in Fortnite has raised dramatically, and because of this, oftentimes it can be difficult to get wins and even simply eliminate other players. Having the ability to eliminate other players regardless of their skill level is required of you to be successful and go down as one of the best players in history. In this video today, we're going to be talking about how to dominate other players of all skill levels. If your goal is to win more games with more kills or just get more kills in general, we'll be working toward achieving these goals. As always, I recommend watching the video until the very end, as there is a lot here that will be covered in today's video. Today's video will help all skill level players, whether you're just starting out and consider yourself a below average player, or you consider yourself to be elite. There's something for everyone to learn. Before we get started, I just want to give a quick shout out to the person who won last video's comment challenge. If you guys want a chance at being shouted out at the beginning of my next video, comment the word driftboard in the comment section for a chance at a shout out. Anyway guys, let's get right into it. One of the most common mistakes I see so many players make nowadays, and they don't even realize they're doing it, is speeding through their fights and forcing plays that don't work. This has been talked about in previous videos of mine constantly because it's one of the most important aspects to fighting in Fortnite that will give you guys more success. Timing is key when you fight other players. A lot of below average and average players that I come across tend to look for the quick elimination, and even when I play highly skilled players, oftentimes just being patient and increasing the time at which I fight them causes them to make mistakes. You guys need to have an idea and a strategy when it comes to getting eliminations. Oftentimes, these strategies are developed as the fight progresses. One of the benefits to extending the length and time of your fights is to analyze how your enemy moves and plays the game. For example, a tougher opponent to beat might be a fast builder, editor, and is extremely accurate. This would mean that trying to play aggressively would be more than likely a bad maneuver, but opponents who move a little slower and don't build as fast, miss edits, and miss their shots will be easier to beat. The only way you'll ever know these things, however, is if you increase the time of your fights. How you guys can increase the time of your fights is by not W-keying your opponents as much when you come across them. Instead, lay down fire from a distance, always stay covered, and change your location in fights. Throwing your opponent off their trail of you will offer you more mobility and plays to make as opposed to being spammed with an AR or an SMG. Movement is key to increasing the length of your fights. Of course, it's also worth noting that practicing movement while covering yourself is important too. This is called turtling, and when fighting better players, this strategy will be used much more. Having a recovery plan is another step to dominating your opponents. Recovery plans oftentimes are to stop you from dying or displacing yourself in case more opponents try and join the fight, which becomes too overwhelming. Your recovery plan will start when you decide which loot you want to take with you, after you clean up your enemies at your landing spot. There's so many choices to choose from, now with the current loot pool, that it can be difficult to decide if taking shockwaves or chug splashes will be a good decision. When you're in a fight, anything could happen. You can get third party with a sniper and lose 150 of your HP. You could get shot with a shotgun for a significant amount of damage, which will also leave you weak. Whatever the case may be, it's important to create plays that will keep you safe and alive. My favorite loadout to have right now is an assault rifle, pump shotgun, SMG, shockwaves, and minis. A part of my recovery plan is to use the shockwaves to obtain high ground, or to escape a fight if need be. The faster you recover, the faster you can get back in the fight. If you recover faster than your opponent, you have another chance at winning the fight you are in. When you try and recover from taking damage in a fight, it's important that you're quick about the decisions you make and the plays you create. Of course, if you have a wide open shot, take it, but you want to essentially give your enemy a hard time when you're healing. This will extend the length of your ability to heal. For example, if you have a campfire going after you drink a slurp juice, it's only a matter of time before you're healed up enough to fight. Fighting from cover and moving while covered are two requirements to beat your opponents consistently. The ability to fight from cover and move throughout fights, all while keeping yourself covered, will prolong your life and ability to deal damage with a low risk involved. I still see players shooting from bases that have no roof, which leaves their body and head exposed to snipers and assault rifles. In close range fights, players move around with little to no building at all. This is a bad play because, in the blink of an eye, they could lose all their health from a sniper shot or a high quality pump shot. When you guys maneuver fights, make sure at all times you have some cover. For example, if you're playing duos with your friend and he communicates to you that he has one player weak, but his teammate is on high ground and you need to apply pressure on the teammate who's weak in order to pick up the elimination, you should move to pick up that elimination while covering yourself from above. This seems like a basic fundamental play to make, but too many players do this still. A lot of my eliminations I pick up from being on the high ground advantage are from players that don't know I'm there or forget to build some form of cover for themselves, and in Arena, players with Champion League status will thrive off of simple rookie mistakes like these, which could also be holding you guys back from achieving the Champion League status if you haven't done so already. That's why it's very important that you guys work on your fundamentals and clean up any silly mistakes you might make in game, no matter how big or small they are. Notice in the gameplay you guys are seeing, very rarely do I move without building cover for myself in a fight. If I don't build anything, it's because I have some form of natural cover to sit behind. The less damage I take, the more confident I'll be going into a fight, and the more damage I can deal to my enemy. We've talked a lot about timing and how increasing the length of your fights can prolong your life, and reward you with better plays to make that will win you more fights. But we haven't talked about the speed at which you make decisions, and the ability to make plays happen. It's important that you guys be able to recognize plays that you can make and immediately get on them if it provides you an advantage over your enemy. This goes hand in hand with game sense, and when you're fighting really good players, the difficulty to make good plays will be increased. What makes pro players so successful is that while the fights they take do last a long time, they're very smart and fast with what they do. As soon as their opponent makes a mistake, they adapt and create a play to hold them under pressure and pick up an elimination. The speed at which they do this is pretty alarming. There's no hesitation on what they do at all. They recognize a problem their enemy has, and they utilize this and force the other player to make a play against this. Hesitating will only hurt you guys. If you know you have an opportunity to create a play, you need to create that play immediately. I think a lot of you guys get nervous of the outcome and decide that the risk you might take might hurt you more than actually help you. I've also talked about risk taking here on my channel and why taking risks makes more successful players. Fortnite is a game of opportunity, advantages, and risk taking. You need to be able to perform all three aspects in order to be a successful player. Defensive and offensive building can also create important plays that save your life and reward you with eliminations. Defensive building can be described as putting up walls to block bullets being shot at you, or reinforcing a structure to keep yourself covered and shoot from. Offensive building can be described as ramp pushes and boxing your enemy in for the trap play, or a 50-50 fight in a box. Defensive building can also be turned into offensive building and vice versa. It's important that you guys learn the two types of building strategies and how you can use both of them to create plays on your enemies. I used to get boxed in pretty easily when I first started playing Fortnite, and the traps that got thrown up around me were always super annoying, and after I died, I felt pretty embarrassed. One day I decided to learn offensive and defensive building strategies to create more opportunities for myself. Very quickly I learned what to look for in fights and how to use my building and editing against my enemies and for myself. If you guys are consistently up to date with the best high ground retakes and are always practicing the speed of your edits and builds, it's going to be much easier to hang in with really good players and pick up eliminations. It's important that you guys can build at a reasonably fast speed and make edits with little to no errors. Building skills will help you dominate your enemies, and editing skills will create more elusive and advanced plays that your opponents will have to properly defend. Playing in arena matches will show you exactly how many times players edit their builds and how fast they create structures for themselves to shoot from. The most important takeaway from this video today would definitely be fighting and moving from cover and while you're building cover. If you can keep yourself healthy throughout a fight, this will give you more advantages and opportunities to make plays and limit your errors. You don't want anything to hold you back nowadays in Fortnite, as simple as editing or building. Practicing advanced plays such as the Tfue Classic are another great weapon to have in your arsenal. The more plays that you create beyond the simple fundamentals of Fortnite will be beneficial to your game and your teammates too. It's important that you guys are consistent with fundamentals as well as advanced plays. Putting the two together will create an unstoppable player and an unstoppable team if you have teammates that are the same skill level as you. One of my favorite advanced plays is shooting my enemy with a pump shotgun at the same time they break my wall. This catches them off guard or grants me an elimination if I hit them for all their HP. I keep my game flowing, and I always try and dictate the fights as much as possible. The longer I have the key to winning the fight in my hand, the more success I will have. It's important that you have variety in your game as well, as this will throw your opponents off guard and keep them guessing what you will do next. For duos, trios, and squads players, a simple way to dominate all of your opponents is by having one or two teammates consistently applying pressure to your opponent's builds, while one or two teammates makes pushes to deal damage to your opponents. In squads the other day when I was playing with some of you guys, I had two of my teammates running support positions with miniguns, while my other teammate pushed up with me and dealt damage. This creates chaos and pinches the enemies that are trying to build. By taking away their building, we were able to secure eliminations and win with ease. A lot of players would say this is an annoying spam strategy, but that annoying spam strategy got us 4 wins. If the meta works, definitely use it. Staying consistent by using metas and exploits will also help you guys in winning more games. It's important to watch as much YouTube videos on Fortnite tricks and tips, as they're consistently changing, and studying the game will only be beneficial to you. Finally, I want you guys to figure out your strengths in game and use them against your opponent. If you believe yourself to be a good builder, you can use that skill to develop a game style played through your building. For me personally, my accuracy and game sense are what drives my success in game, so I play through these two aspects. If I developed a better building and editing speed, I might change up my playstyle and play through building. It doesn't hurt to change up how you play from time to time if your old playstyle doesn't work as much anymore. If you guys did make it this far in the video, comment the word robot for a chance at winning some V-Bucks at the end of the month. Use my code YTViribus in the item shop. If you guys do want to support me, drop a like if you did enjoy, and I'll catch you guys next video. Peace out.